Hi, I'm Haley.
And hi, I'm Abby.
And today we're going to be talking to you about women's rights in underdeveloped and developing countries around the world. Women's rights around the world is an important indicator to understand global well-being. In some patriarchal societies, religion and tradition can be used as barriers for equal rights.
Despite many successes in empowering women, many issues still exist in all areas of life, all around the world, ranging from cultural, political, and economical standpoints. For example, women often work more than men, but are paid less. Gender discrimination affects girls and women throughout their lifetime, and women and girls are the ones that suffer from the most poverty.
In this video, we're going to focus on underdeveloped and developing countries and women's struggles all over the globe in current day. Healthy, educated, and empowered women have healthy, educated, and confident kids, sons and daughters. Gender equality and the improvement of women's rights worldwide will not only empower women to overcome poverty and live full, productive lives, but it will better the lives of children, families, and countries going into the future.
Promoting gender equality and empowering women all around the world will also contribute to achieving other goals, from reducing poverty and hunger to saving children's lives, improving maternal health, ensuring universal education, fighting AIDS, malaria, and other diseases, and ensuring environmental sustainability.
According to Mario Asaba, who wrote the article Women More Educated, Not More Equal, says, when it comes to female education rights, progress has been made around the world, and in many countries, girls and young women have outnumbered and outperformed boys and men at all levels of schooling for decades. Nevertheless, these advances have yet to translate into greater equity in employment, politics, and social relations.
The first Women's Rights Convention was held on July 19, 1848. The setting was Seneca Falls, New York. 68 women and 32 men gathered to sign the Declaration of Sentiments. This included a set of 12 resolutions for equal treatment for men and women. This was the official start of the women's rights movement. On March 8, 1911, the first ever Women's Day was celebrated internationally, which really kick-started the 20th century women's rights movement. In 1913, Norwegian women were granted the right to vote, and then in 1916, Jeannette Rankin of Montana was the first woman to ever be elected into the U.S. Congress.
In 1918, Canadian women were given the right to vote, and in Britain, women over the age of 30 were given the right to vote. In 1920, the Treaty of Versailles gave the right to women to make equal pay to their male counterparts. In 1934, women in Brazil and Thailand gained the right to vote. Following the suit of the rest of the world, Cuba requires men and women to have equal pay. The first organization to reach globally was the National Organization for Women. It was formed in 1966. Today, in developed countries, the arguments against women's rights are seen as prejudice.
But in underdeveloped and developing countries, many arguments against women's rights are still supported.
This is because of influencing religions, cultures, beliefs, and practices among these countries. This greatly affects the social equality and standpoints for women.
Religion extremism is also another reason why countries are having trouble developing. Religion extremism is when a person who advocates disapproval. Some extremists don't believe women should have all or certain rights.
Voting rights, marriage rights, and education rights are still being argued and fought for in underdeveloped and developing countries today.
One organization that has been a strong advocate for women's rights is the UNFPA. It has worked 30 years to help a woman's health, legal status and issues, education, and it takes initiative for equality.
The latest annual report was published in 2013, and it explains the goals and objectives for the rights of women globally and regionally. These are the goals: expanding and improving maternal and newborn health, increasing access to voluntary family planning, making HIV and STI services more accessible to pregnant women, people living with HIV, young people, and key populations.
Advocating for gender equality and reproductive rights, increasing young people's access to health and reproductive health services and information, linking population dynamics, policy making, and developing plans, and harnessing the power of data.
Another organization is Women for Women.
Women for Women specializes in violence, marginalization, poverty because of war and conflict. The organization focuses on Afghanistan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Iraq, Kosovo, Nigeria, Rwanda, and South Sudan.
Women for Women has worked for over 20 years to achieve these goals: earn and save money, develop health and well-being, influence decisions in their homes and communities, connect to networks for support and advocacy.
The KVINFO is an organization that works with North Africa and the Middle East. The main purpose of the KVINFO is to initiate research and conclude information and findings and contribute to the development and social equality internationally. The focuses are access to justice, gender research and documentation, women's economic empowerment, and women's political empowerment. Every day, 20,000 girls under the age of 18 give birth in developing countries.
About 19% of women in developing countries have become pregnant by the age of 18.
1 in 3 women will experience violence because of gender.
1 in 7 adolescent girls is married before her 15th birthday in developing countries.
One study used 219 countries to conclude for every year a woman is educated, her reproductive age, a child mortality rate is decreased by 9.5%.
In African countries, widowed women are forced from their subsistence agriculture farms because they do not have the rights to property.
In Nepal, 40% of women are married before 15.
In Western Asia and Northern Africa, below 30% of women are in the workforce.
54% of the 72 million children out of school are females.
An extra year of secondary school can increase a girl's potential income by 15 to 25%. A current example of the dangers of educating women in the Middle East is the story of Shabana Bashij. Born and raised in Kabul, Shabana finished high school in the U.S. through the State Department's Youth Exchange Studies program. The reason that this was possible for her when it is so rare for other girls in her nation was because her mother and father insisted on educating their daughters, no matter what the price.
She went to attend Middlebury College in Vermont, graduating magna cum laude in International Studies and Women and Gender Studies in 2011. She also received the Service Award for Outstanding Leadership and Service to Others. While still in college, Shabana co-founded SOLA, School of Leadership Afghanistan, a nonprofit dedicated to giving young Afghans access to quality education and abroad back homes.
SOLA provides college preparatory courses to students aged 11 to 19, representing all major ethnic groups, religious sects, and tribes. In Shabana's TED Talk, she tells the story of a young girl that attends SOLA boarding school, and that young girl's father. One day, the father picked his daughter up from school and began to walk home. On the way home, they missed being killed by a bomb by merely minutes.
When they got home, the father of the young girl received a call saying, "If you don't stop sending your daughters to school, we will try again." The father then responded by saying, "Kill me now if you wish, but I will not ruin my daughter's future because of your old and backward ideas."
Shabana and the SOLA girls' stories uncover the injustice that occurs and the amazing people that are working to help the problem. With the help of supranational organizations, we can help further women's rights to education, safety, equality, and independence.
However, it is not certain where women's rights is going in the future in underdeveloped and developing countries.
Most countries are in stage 2 and 3 of the demographic transition model. The DTM shows countries go from pre-industrial to economically industrialized. Since these countries are in the lower stages, they are not yet fully industrialized. These countries usually have high crude birth rates and low crude death rates.
Since many women in these countries are not educated, they have many children. Many countries face a high child mortality rate. This means the majority of the population is economically dependent.
The population pyramid for these countries are largely at youth economic dependent. Less people are in the economically independent ages. This means that they are not industrialized.
As these countries industrialize to stage 4 of the DTM, opportunity for women economically will broaden and stabilize. More men and women will be able to family plan so that the crude birth rates will not be so high. Women will also be able to receive educations and rights.
It is important to understand that the development of women is not just up to organizations and industrialization. We must remember women's rights is human rights. And it is going to take a strong community of people to better ensure the lives of women globally. Question your convictions. Be who you want to be, not who they want you to be. Don't accept their enslavement. Free your mother birth, be free.
The first woman's right. What are you doing? Issues still exist in all areas of life, all around the world, ranging from cultural, political. Why did you do that?
I wanted to see it roll.
Organization that has been a strong advocate for women.
Did you see that?
No.
The light. Slide the audience. I didn't even mean to do that. Okay, take 4.